Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I'll show you a zero waste project. So I'm going to show you how you can make your own plastic wrap alternative that's reusable and also zero waste. So this is something that you can always reuse to keep your food fresh, just like any plastic wrap. In this case, it's even better because you don't have any trash behind you after you're done. So yeah, it's a really cool project. It's also really simple to do. So I cut these out so that they fit my bowls that I have at home, but you can of course always adjust the size according to your own bowls. So yeah, this will be a DIY waxed fabric project. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically a fabric piece that has a wax layer on both sides, so inside and out. And thanks to that wax, you can simply wipe it to clean it and keep it really clean that way. My size is pretty big here, but you can of course, just like I already said, adjust that according to your own needs and the stuff you have at home. So this is definitely a lot cheaper too than buying waxed fabric that was already done. So that's also a big plus. So you won't need much for this. You will need some fabric of your choosing. I recommend doing cotton, but you can of course use pretty much anything. So I don't recommend super stretchy fabric because it might get weird with the wax. It might look weird. So just make sure you find something you like. As I said, if you're a beginner, feel free to use cotton. It's definitely the easiest. And yeah, make your own reusable plastic wrap alternative. So I recommend using zigzag scissors since they help preventing fraying later. So that's a really cool trick if you didn't know that already. So yeah, there's an extra tip here. Then we will use a regular brush, a painting brush of any kind, as long as it's clean, so it should work just fine. Whatever you have at home already should be good. So this I ordered online. It's just beeswax, so you can definitely find these online wherever you live. So sometimes you can find this in different shapes and sizes. So you see in my case I have the tiny little bits. Sometimes they're a bit bigger, but it doesn't really change the method that we're gonna do today. So there are different methods how to do this, but I think I'm gonna stick to the easiest one. So for that, we're just gonna melt this wax. So like we would melt chocolate, so a regular water bath, and then I'll use my brush to apply this to the fabric. You can of course put these onto the fabric directly and then melt them in the oven, but I find that hard to control, so I think we're just gonna stick to the brush method for now. Also, make sure that your beeswax doesn't have any other type of wax, so it won't work as well that way. So you definitely want 100% beeswax, or as many percent as possible. Then you want your iron for today and some waxed paper, baking paper, whatever you call it. I recommend using 2 layers just so you have more control over it. So here is my fabric. I cut it out with my scissors. So you can do this in any shape and size, which is another great plus for doing this yourself. So in my case, I'll show you what I want to use these for. So for example, I have this bowl here, and the measuring is actually super easy to do. So I just took my bowl and put it on top of my fabric. Then I left a bit more of the fabric on each edge, but I did copy the shape or contour the shape. Also, make sure that you have enough room, so either take your bowl and measure directly just like I showed you, so you just take something to mark with and just go all around your edge, or you can do big pieces that you can do for multiple different bowls. Why I'm mentioning this is because it's super useful if you decide to do this as a gift for someone and you don't know which size the person's bowls and other stuff is. So in that case, this is really a great method. So you can just do a couple bigger ones and a couple smaller ones, and then they're going to be able to fit, of course, all kinds of shapes and sizes. So here is another size that I did for another bowl. And as you see, I left here quite a bit of room in a circle. And yeah, just make sure it's a bit bigger than the bowl itself. And you can of course always make it smaller and cut bits and pieces off. But what you can do is make it bigger when you already have it cut. So you can also do a regular bigger piece of fabric without cutting it and later use it for waterproof purses or wallets or whatever you want. So this is basically a method to do a waterproof type of fabric due to the layer of the wax that it has. So that's actually why you can wipe it off and why it stays clean due to the wax. And it will be a bit less flexible, but you can definitely still sew with it and get awesome DIYs done. So here is my water in my pot and I have some wax in here, not all of it. So you can use a glass if you prefer that, if you know that it can withstand heat, which is important. Either way, something that can withstand heat. So any heat-proof bowl and stick it into your pot so that you can slowly melt the wax. Now that you melted your wax, you can prep the next step, which is some wax paper on your surface, of course. You want an iron next to it, and you want your fabric, of course, on top of the wax paper. So onto the one layer, and then the second layer will go on top of that. So when you have this prepped, you can take your brush and apply the wax. So you want to do the whole surface before you get to the ironing part. So here are two pieces done and you just saw how I did it. So I just apply the wax with my brush and then I put the other piece of the wax paper on top and I just iron over it really well. So you can of course make your iron really hot this time. It doesn't bother anything, so you want to melt the wax again and then you get more even results and neater results in the end. When you're done, of course, feel free to check if you did the whole back side too, and if not, of course, you can repeat the process on the back side again. When you finish that, you can put it on top of a third wax paper sheet and just let it dry a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's project. So I just want to say, when you melt the wax, you gotta be pretty fast because the wax hardens really quickly, a lot quicker than you think. Of course, also make sure that you don't burn yourself since it's also super hot. So just brush over it as fast as you can and as carefully as you can. Definitely do one at a time next to your stove. That way you ensure that the wax doesn't just harden on your brush on your way to the fabric. So as close to the stove as possible without making it dangerous, of course. When it all dries, it's a bit harder. You can definitely see and feel the layer of wax. And yeah, sometimes you'll have this happen, and I left this piece on purpose so that I can show you what it looks like. So here you see that the wax is kind of getting off. So this can happen after a while when you use it for some time. The cool thing is you can just again iron over it between two wax sheets, or you can again stick it in the oven again on top of a wax sheet and then leave it, of course, when it's done to cool again before using. And this will allow the wax to be flatter on the surface because it melted again. And that's how you can always fix it up after a while, and you can use this for as long as you like, so this can't go bad. And as far as cleaning goes, you can, as I already mentioned, just wipe it or wash it with cold or lukewarm water. So just make sure you don't use hot water because of course you don't want to melt the wax on accident and get it off of your fabric. So we don't want that. And yeah, you can always do new layers of wax if you want. Again, after a while, it might be a good idea to refresh it a little bit. And yeah, I'd use this for pretty much anything, so you can definitely pack some fruit inside or bread or pretty much anything, so any kind of food will work. What I do have to say, the only thing I wouldn't wrap is meat because the bacteria from it won't get out of the fabric. So that might not be as smart, but otherwise you can use it for pretty much everything. So it's zero waste, so it's a lot better than the plastic wrap that we usually use or used to use, but feel free to let me know if you have any other ideas how we can replace plastic wrap and similar products. So I like this one because it's really natural, it has just beeswax and everything stays nice and fresh with it. So I'll show you how to use it. So I'm just putting it on top of here, and the cool thing is that your fingers are warm and they kind of warm the wax up so that you can form it into the shape that you want, and that way you make sure that it of course stays on the bowl as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to shoot a thumbs up if you did. You can also let us know in the comments section what you think. And if you'd like to see more, you can of course subscribe to our channel and that way stay updated with every new video that we post. So thanks for watching DIY Ideas. Feel free to let me know about your zero waste project, and I'll see you next time. Bye!